Hello, welcome to the Stuffed Pot tutorials for crocheting plants. Today we are making a leaf plant, like an ivy. Think of a pothos or a philodendron, anything that's real leafy and long and trails down. I'm going to show you guys how to do that. We're going to make 10 of these leaves, and it's very, very simple. However, if you are a beginning crocheter and you've never crocheted before, please go to my introduction video. It's a great little tutorial that will get you started on how to do the simple stitches so that you can get up to speed with these. I won't show you how to do each little stitch. I mean, you could probably pick it up by watching, but I'm not going to go over those specifically. So if you're new to crocheting, please go visit that video first, and then you can get right into the rest of the videos. For this project, we're going to use I love this yarn brand. It's a worsted weight yarn. It calls for a 5.5 millimeter hook, but I'm using a 4.25 millimeter hook, which is a G, which is 4.25 millimeter hook. I'm using dark olive for this one, and I'm going to use the coffee color for the soil. You'll also maybe need a hot glue gun. I'm using a hot glue gun to assemble some of the pieces, not very many, but I just prefer hot glue over the others. You'll also need a yarn needle and some scissors. I'm using a 3-inch pot for this project. When I do this soil, I will show you how to adjust if you have a larger or smaller pot. So have no fear, that can be adjusted. The leaf size and length and numbers doesn't really have anything to do with the size of your pot unless you go really large and you want to add as many leaves. I'm going to be doing a plant with 10 leaves. Make yours your own. I'll show you how to connect your leaves once we're done making all of our leaves. So first we're going to start off with, let me pull a little bit out here so I can get through the leaf. Okay, here we go. It's a new skein of yarn, so the pull through is not as easy until I get through it. All right. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to chain 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's going to give us the length of our leaf. The 8th chain is going to be a turn chain, and then we're going to work 7 stitches for our leaf, okay? So to give us our shape of our leaf, we're going to use a combination of basic stitches, and we're going to gradually increase our stitch size. We're going to start with a slip stitch, and then we're going to do a single crochet, a half double crochet, and then 2 double crochets. Each of those stitches are a little bit taller than the previous one, so it's going to give us a nice point and then broaden out our leaf for us. So 3 slip stitches in the beginning. This is going to allow us to have a pointy tip for our leaf. And then we're going to do a single crochet, and then we're going to do a half double crochet, and then we're going to do 2 double crochets. Oh, there's my cat Pepper. One, then we're going to do, so we did, show you this again. 3 slip stitches, 1 single crochet, 1 half double crochet, and 2 double crochets. Now to turn, we're going to chain 2 right here. That's going to give us a nice clean edge all the way around our leaf. And it's going to help us get to the other side. We're going to connect this with a slip stitch into that very first chain we started with. And then we're going to chain up 2 again. Now you could just chain up 4 right there, but I like to have that slip stitch in there to anchor it because it gives it that heart shape of a leaf that you see in a pothos or a philodendron. All right, now on this side we're going to do things just a little bit differently than we did on the other side because I'm shaping my leaf a little differently. We're going to do 4 double crochets, 1 half double crochet, 1 single crochet, and a slip stitch, okay? So I'm going to also tuck in this yarn as we go, so that's why that's there. I don't like to weave it in later. So double crochet, double crochet, double crochet, double crochet. Now I'm going to step it down. I'm going to start pointing out my leaf again, and I'm going to do a half double crochet, a single crochet, a slip stitch. Now see how that makes kind of a blunt-ended leaf? If you want more of a pointier leaf, I like to close it out with a slip stitch into this 8th chain. The turn stitch, usually we don't do anything with that turn stitch, but this time we're going to, because I want to be able to point my leaf out nicely. So I'm going to slip stitch through it, and then I'm going to cut my yarn off a little bit and pull through that last stitch, and that's going to give you your nice point. Now this is how I shape my leaves. The good thing about this is they can be shaped any way that you would like, just by adjusting the stitches that you do. So if you want this to be a lot more broad and you don't want this little loop, this little, you know, whatever that's called, then you can just keep it consistent on both sides. I like this little swoop. I think it makes it look cute. But like I said, you can really work with this by adjusting the sizes of your stitches. You could also even make this a little bit more broad by doing a triple crochet. However you want to do it. All right, we got to make 10 of these. So let's get to cracking. You can always fast forward a little bit. If you've got this down, then you can fast forward to the point where we get to where we're going to vine them together. This is going to be a short vine plant, so I'm only going to have I'm going to have 4 sets of 2 vined together. I know that sounds really short, but for my 3-inch pot, it just sits really nicely over the edge of the pot. But you can definitely add more. I'll show you how to do that later. All right, we got that woven in. Hate weaving in, it's not my favorite. All right, let's do another. I'm going to pull enough yarn out. All right, chain 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3 slip stitches back. 1 single crochet, 1 half double crochet, 2 doubles. Sorry, I know I'm going fast. If you didn't get it down the first time and you need it to go a little slower, I would just go back a little in the video, or I'll do another one here in a minute slower. I'm going to do some of these fast and some of these slow, just so we can get through them. We've got 10 to do. I would normally just stop the video, but my editing skills are not that great, so I'm just going to power through it here. Thank God for fast forwarding and rewinding. It's a good time to talk about, please support my channel, like my content, subscribe. I'm going to be adding a lot of content in the next couple weeks. I'm a fairly new channel at this point, so I'm going to be working on all of my patterns. I do have written patterns in my shop for purchase. If you would like to go and get a written pattern for this or any of my other plants, I have some in my shop, thestuffedpot.com. I also do live tutorials on TikTok, occasionally, mostly in the mornings, but I've been known to jump on in the middle of the day if I'm working on something and want some company. I'm happy to answer any questions during those TikToks, during those TikTok lives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or anytime, just feel free to leave me a comment, send me a message on Instagram, TikTok, email, through my store. You can contact me through my store. However, I'm pretty easy to get a hold of, and I love teaching people how to crochet. I love to keep this art going. It's been around for ages, and it's a really fun craft to have. It's super relaxing. I crochet a lot in the evenings just to relax and unwind while I watch a show or talk to my kiddos, whichever. It's very therapeutic. If you're beginning crocheting and you're having some trouble, like with tension styles or tension, you can always go through YouTube and see how other people hold their hook. There's no wrong way to hold your hook. You do what's comfortable for you, doesn't cause you any pain. Some of my recommendations for wrist or arm pain when you're working, when you're starting out, you're just going to be building those muscles. I don't get pain anymore in my hands because I've been crocheting for 30 years and my muscles are all in tune with what I'm doing. But I do get arthritis in my hip, so I love turmeric. I take it in the pill form, and it helps me a lot with pain. Or if I've just had so many orders and I've been crocheting nonstop, I will use like an Aspirin cream or a Bengay type like ointment that you can massage in. All right, more leaves. If you would like to show some appreciation for the tutorials that I do, I have a tip jar in my link tree on my TikTok and my Instagram. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oop, did one more. Definitely appreciated. That's what helps keeps me going here, gives me the time to make these videos and make these contents. And it's definitely awesome for you guys to show your gratitude that way. If you can't, that is fine, no pressure. But what you could do is just go and flood my platforms with your likes and your attention. That's what gets me out more. So it brings in more people and it helps support my store, and I greatly appreciate that. All right, we're halfway through. We've done 5 leaves now. I'm going to slow down for the next one. Oops, hold on. Got to going too fast. I wasn't paying attention. All right. All right, I'm going to do this one a little slower just so you guys can see how it's made. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chains to start. Now we're going to go back over the first 3, this side of the chain. We're only working on one side of the chain. We're going to do 3 slip stitches. 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to step up with a single crochet, a half double crochet, 2 double crochets, and then when you get to this part, you're going to chain 2 to turn and close off your leaf. It's going to give you a nice stitched edge for your leaf. You're going to chain up 1 and then do 4 double crochets into those first 4 chains. Oops, that was a slip stitch. And then we're gonna, at the end, don't forget to do a slip stitch into that 8th chain, that turn chain, so that we can have a nice little point on our end. This really is a super easy, and these leaves can be attached to really anything. You can use this leaf pattern for earrings, you can use them for appliques, you can sew them on other things, you can string them on garland, you can make a plant with them, you can add them to other, like if you're making flowers, these would be really good leaves to add. I make some of these when I do my sunflower arrangements. I tuck these into my sunflower clusters. Sorry, needed a beverage. Okay, 4, 5, 6. All right, we've got 6. 1, 2, 3. Whoops. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Chain 8. Let me pull some yarn out here so I have plenty. Whoop. 3 slip stitches, 1 single crochet, 1 half double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 2 to turn, go back in, slip stitch into that first chain, chain 2 again, half double, single, slip stitch, and then slip stitch into the last one. There we go. Weave this up, pull it through, get a little tug, cut it off. There we go. 3 more to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oops, I got that a little loose. Sometimes this first stitch when you turn will get loose and it'll make your point look funny, so make sure that that is proper tension. All right. Oh, I almost cut that off before I wove it in. Going too fast. All right, I think this, wait. 2, 4, 6, 8. Oh, I have 2 more to do. I thought I only had 1. 2, 4, 6, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, slip stitch, slip stitch, slip stitch, single crochet, half double, 2 doubles, chain 2, go into our slip stitch, 2, chain 2, 4 double crochets down, Whoops, what did I do? That should have been a double. Sorry. Two, 4, 6, 8, 9. Okay, one more and we're done. Oh, I forgot to leave 2 of these with tails, but that's all right. We can just add a string later. No big deal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna go ahead and leave this one's tail out. Okay, so since this is our last one, I'm going to do a quick run through about the stitches again. So we started with a chain of 8 and we turned it and we went 3 slip stitches. We did 1 single crochet, 1 half double crochet, 2 doubles. We did 2 chains to turn. We connected it with a slip stitch at the top. We did 2 more chains, and on this side we did 4 double crochets, a half double crochet, single crochet, and a slip stitch with a slip stitch into the 8th stitch to close. And then we cut off and pulled through our final stitch. So that's what we did. All right. We are now at the part where we're going to connect these to the vine. All right. Sorry, I'll just stretch my back for a second. All right, so we're gonna start with our loop, our slip knot on our hook. And like I said, we're gonna do 4 sets of 2 leaves. Now if you want to vine ton of these, you just keep on going until you're done. But I'm gonna show you real quick. I like to connect my yarn on the back of the top of my leaf. And the reason for that is I want my leaf to just set nicely on top of the vine. If you're doing a garland, I would connect it here with a single crochet, and then I would connect it here with a single crochet. The reason for that is it will lay flat and it won't curl. It'll help it lay flat and not curl. So if you're doing a garland and you're just going to make a whole string of these, and it's going to string up like this, like in a row, connect on this stitch right here with a single crochet, and then stitch here with a single crochet. Because then they'll lay flat when you're hanging up your garland, right? Because they're going to all lay like this. But since I'm making these on a plant and they're going to hang like this, I want to connect on the back of it, all right? Because I want my leaves to just hang real nicely over each other. So we're going to pick up these 2 pieces of yarn here in the back. They make a V, they're right at the top. And we're going to slip stitch through that. Okay? Now I'm going to chain up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Then I'm going to grab my next leaf and I'm going to connect it like that with a slip stitch. And then I'm done. Unless I want to add more leaves. If you want to keep going and add more leaves, chain up 5. I think 5 is a good space between leaves. If you want to make it longer or you want to put them closer together, you adjust that for your liking. But like I said, this is where you would add more if you want to. If not, you can stop here. I'm going to stop here, but I'm going to leave a decent tail on this one because this is the one that's going to tie it to the soil. I am going to pull it through, pull it tight here though, and I'm going to tuck in this bottom tail. Okay, I'm just going to pull that through. Nice and good like that. Cut it off. All right, there is our first set. Now you see when I hold it like this, it hangs like a vine plant would. Okay? So we need 3 more of these. All right, we're going to go into the back here, slip stitch, there's 5 spaces, 5 chains. We're going to grab another leaf, going to go like this. Okay. And then we're going to tie in here. I'm going to go ahead and, just because I snapshot pictures off of this video for my written patterns, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how to string it up for garland real quick, just so I can take some photos. Sorry, you can skip past this if you want. So you're going to, but you might want to know for yourself too. You're going to go ahead and go here. I do a slip, or I do a single crochet on this because I think it gives it a nice hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or however many spaces you want to add. And then again, go through this with a single crochet. Go through this with a single crochet. And then you can just keep going down the line and adding more. But this is going to allow these two, when you're hanging them, you know, see how nicely they lay now? That's how you're going to do it for garland. All right, let's finish our plant. We're going to pierce the back of this again. Chain up 5. Go into the back of this one. All right. Leave that tail out because you're going to tie on with it. Tuck in the tail of the first leaf that you attached. Okay, one more set, and then we're going to start making the soil. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I did forget to leave a tail out on that second piece. God, I have the worst memory. Cut this one, pull that through, pull it tight. Weave in this last end. All right, now what I'm going to do, since I didn't leave tails here, is I'm just going to cut a couple of strings about yay long. And I'll show you how to weave those in. We're going to set these aside. And I'm going to make my soil. Hold on, I'm going to adjust my chair because my back is hurting for some reason today. Okay. All right, let's make a soil ball. This is also essentially a good tutorial on how to crochet in a circle. You can, if you already know how to use a magic circle, you can use that. I do my circles in a chain 4, 2, 3, 4, and then I go back into that first chain and slip stitch these 2 stitches together. Okay, so we're going to slip stitch, and then to start my first row of my circle, I'm going to chain up 1, okay? Now in this circle, I'm going to stitch about 10 stitches, half double crochet stitches into this circle. All right, 10 stitches. And then to close off our circle, we're going to connect into that first stitch. Make sure you don't connect into that first chain stitch. I know it's down there and it looks like a stitch, but that's the chain stitch that we use to start our row. Don't close off into that stitch. Close off into the first stitch with a slip stitch like that, okay? And then kind of give that center tail a tug and it'll close up your circle. So here's where the adjustment tips are. If you have a larger or smaller pot, essentially what you're going to be doing is making a circle that covers the top of your pot. You want to make it just big enough to where you can't see any more edging. If you go a little over, that's fine, but you don't want to go under. You want to make sure that you're covering the top of your pot. For a 3-inch pot, I can usually do that in 3 rows. So this counts as my first row. My second row, I'm going to increase every other stitch, okay? My third row, I'm going to increase every 2 stitches. So I'll go stitch, stitch, increase, okay? Chain up 1 to start a new row, and then we're going to go into this one with just 1 stitch. So I'm going to stitch every other one, right? So now I'm going to increase this stitch by adding 2 stitches into that stitch. So I did 2 half double crochets into this stitch. Now I'm going to do 1 stitch because I'm just increasing every other, and then 2 stitches into the next one. Sorry, I'm getting disorganized here. Sorry, made y'all seasick for a second. Okay, 1 stitch, 2 to increase. 1 stitch, 2 to increase. So see how I'm increasing my circle and it stays kind of flat? I mean, I had to shape it, but it'll stay flat once I shape it. Now we're going to increase 2 into this last one. 1, 2. And then we're going to close off into that first stitch. Make sure you don't close off into that starter stitch with the slip stitch. Okay? We're not quite there yet, so yep, we do have to add another row. And on this one, I'm going to increase every 2 stitches. So I'm going to do single stitch, double stitch. Okay? Single stitch, double stitch. And this is how you make your circle. Single stitch, double stitch. Single stitch, double stitch. After this row, I know I'm going to have the size that I want. I'll continue doing 2 to 3 rows without increasing so that I can start to form a ball. This will start making like a bowl shape. Okay, I closed off my stitch or my row, chain up 1. Now see what I'm looking, see this is what I'm looking for? I've covered the edge of my pot. So if your pot's a little bit different and you're not quite there yet, what I would do is I would keep going. I would do stitch, stitch. I would keep going with it every 2 stitches, just like the last row we did. You don't want to start spacing your increases out too much because you will start curving out, which is, I guess, fine. But if you need more, I would just go ahead and go single stitch, double stitch, all the way around. But I'm fine, I'm where I need to be. If you need to pause this and get a little bigger and then join us when you're there, do that. Otherwise, I'm going to do 2, probably 3 rows, but let's check it at 2 rows and make sure that we're still on size. So I'm going to continue with half double crochet in every stitch all the way around till I get to the end of my row. Now this is going to start curling and making like a bowl shape. Alright, I'm going to close off my row and do one more row. All right, we're gonna close off. Now here's how you adjust to make sure you kind of have the depth that you need. You're gonna keep going until you can shove this down and just be at the edge. See how that fits in there nicely? And I know that that is touching the bottom. If you want to go ahead and put another row in, you can. But if you are using a bigger pot and you want to make sure you have plenty, you can add more rows. We're not going to go through decreasing to make an actual ball. We're just going to cinch it up after we stuff it with polyfill. It doesn't have to be pretty because it's going to be on the inside of our pot. So it doesn't have to be a perfect ball. So we're not going to mess with decreasing or anything. Just going to go inside the pot. I do use a little bit of polyfill for the inside of my ball just to help it stand out. You can stuff it with whatever you would like to stuff it with if you have leftover yarn scraps. Since I sell these, I like to have a nice, pretty finished pot product. I stuff mine with polyfill. All right, let's attach our leaves. So this will essentially cinch up and go down into the pot like that. A little bit will stick out of the top so that we can have a nice flowing plant. These sections of 2 leaves tie in with this tail, and I tie it into the first row of our circle. So the way that I do that is I grab this first row with my hook. I pull this to where the leaf is all the way up to the hole. Okay, I just pull the yarn through it like that, and I pull the tail back through the hole. I'm going to tie it off later to secure it more. I know that doesn't look very secure. Now if you wanted to take all those tails and just put them through here and tie it off with this beginning tail here, be my guest. I like to do this because I think it spaces out my leaves, but it probably is the same. All right, I'm going to evenly space these all across from each other. All right, now that I got these put together, I'm going to turn it inside out, and I'm going to tie 2 of them to each other. My God, there's a fuzz right here moving across. I kept seeing it out of my peripherals, and I thought it was a bug. It's freaking me out. Because when I looked at it, I couldn't see it because it's the same color as the table. Okay, I got those tied off. Now I'm gonna see how on the top it's a little empty. Oh, that's why I don't put them all through. If you try to put them all through, it doesn't space these out, and then they're all scrunched together trying to fight for space. And I just didn't like the look of that. These lay really nicely if you space them out, and that's why I connect them to the first row. I like to give them a little bit of space so that they are connected, or so that they lay nicely. So now I have these 2 single leaves, and usually I would leave the tails off of them, but I didn't here, so my bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a new tail to the back of these leaves. And these two I am going to just pull through the center of my soil, that hole there, and I'm going to pull them both through at the same time, just because I'm efficient like that. So I'm going to grab all of this messy yarn here. I'm going to just pull these through too. Pull them all. And then I'm going to tie that mess of yarn together with this tail, brown tail. And I'm just going to tie it. I know this is messy. You do it however you want to do it. And then, because you know how much I have anxiety about things coming apart, I'm going to pop a little hot glue on there. That is totally optional. Just makes me feel better about things. Since I make these and sell these in my shop, I like them to be perfect and not fall apart. So I get anxiety about those things. Okay, so we're full. Our yarn, our ball is done. Our things are attached. Got some glue on my finger. We're going to take a little bit of polyfill. We don't need much at all. Just a little bit of polyfill to fill it out. And then we're going to take our yarn needle and we're going to weave it through. Doesn't have to be in and out of every stitch. And then we're going to pull it tight. Whoops, came off my thing. And then we're just going to tie it off like that. Okay, and again, just a smidge of glue right there. Totally probably not necessary, but here we go. All right, so now we're going to dry fit this and make sure it fits in our pot, okay? This fits perfectly into our pot. Now I'm going to glue mine into my pot because, like I said, I sell these as a finished product in my shop and I want them to be perfect. I don't want them falling out. I don't want my customers to see the business on the inside. So I'm going to glue this in the pot. I've had several people, like in my TikTok live, say, oh, that's a great place to put a stash of stuff. You know, if you got some money you want to hide, candy, whatever else you got that you want to hide. Just keep it like that and you won't need to glue it in. But I'm going to glue mine in. So the way that I glue these in, super easy. I'm going to need an extra glue stick because I'm running low. I just glue right on the inside. I try not to get close to the edge because I don't want it to spill over. Yep, I'm going to do this quickly so it doesn't dry. And then we're just going to put it in like we did a minute ago. Just set it nicely down there. Make sure it gets into the glue. And then you can reposition these leaves to lay the way that you would like them to lay. I feel like something's missing over here. Okay. All right, there you go. There's your leafy vine. And like I said, you may add as many or as many leaves and vines as you would like. You can use any color you would like. And then at some point I'm going to do a tutorial on how to variegate these. So check back often. Subscribe to my channel so that you can get updated when I have new tutorials. I'm also going to be adding some of my previous live videos so that you guys can see some of the other fun crafty stuff that I make that I probably won't do formal tutorials on. But we have a lot of fun. You should join me on my TikTok live sometimes. Follow my TikTok if that's a thing that you do, and come join me on a live. We love to get crafty in there. We share ideas. Sometimes you guys teach me new things. If you find any value in my tutorials and you want to show your gratitude, please go to my tip jar in my link tree. That can be found on my Instagram or my TikTok. Everything is named The Stuffed Pot. Just one word. My YouTube, my TikTok, and my Instagram are the only platforms I use, and it's all just The Stuffed Pot. Thank you for joining me. I hope you had fun.